All right, we're going to go through the Unit 8 review. I want you to follow along on your computers, follow along with your packets so you have an idea of what is going to be on the test. This review should help you out. You'll see a question like this on the test. Write 9 over 10 as a decimal and a percent. Well, 9 over 10 would also be worded as 9/10.9. Remember, when we're changing something to a percent, it's two numbers after the decimal. So this would be 90%. Find a common denominator for 5/7 and 7/10. Well, 7 is a denominator, 10 is a denominator. What would be a common denominator for them? All we have to do is just do the multiplication rule and multiply 7 times 10, and we would get 70. Let's go ahead and change each of these fractions into 70. 7 times 10 equals 70. 5 times 10 equals 50. 10 times 7 equals 70. 7 times 7 equals 49. That's how you would find common denominators. This is all review. I've taught you all of this before. Here's another problem. We have 2/5 and we have 1/7. 5 and 7 are my denominators. I have to go ahead and multiply 5 times 7. I'll get 35 as my common denominator. Change 2/5 to 35. Change 1/7 into 35. 5 times 7 equals 35. 2 times 7 equals 14. 7 times 5 equals 35. 1 times 5 equals 5. We'll keep on cruising here. Is 3/4 greater than or less than 3/5? Now this problem right here, we have to find a common denominator again. It's just worded a little bit differently. But we have to have these fractions look the same. 4 and 5, what number do they both go into? They both go into 20. So 20 is my common denominator. Change 3/4 into 20, 3/5 into 20. 4 times 5 is 20, 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20, 3 times 4 is 12. 3/4 is larger than 3/5 because 15 is larger than 12. So the question is 3/4 greater than or less than 3/5? It is greater. Use the fractions 2 over 13 and 4 over 5. Explain how to determine which fraction is greater. Once again, more common denominator work. 13 and 5 are my denominators. 13 times 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry the 1 up. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 65 is my common denominator. I have to get these fractions to look the same before I can compare them. 2/13 equals 4/5 equals 13 times 5 is 65. 2 times 5 is 10. 5 times 13 is 65. 4 times 13 is, I'm not sure. 13 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So this will be 52. Question states, explain how to determine which fraction is greater. Well, we found common denominators. 52 is larger than 10. So which one's larger, kids? 4/5 is greater. Use your ruler to draw a line segment 2.5 inches long. If you erase 3/4 of an inch from this line segment, how long would the new line segment be? Now, I'm not worried about you drawing a line, but I am worried about you reading the question correctly and carefully. Well, they want you to erase. Erase means subtract. So we have 2.5 minus 3/4. Once again, finding a common denominator because we're subtracting. When you subtract or add, you're always finding a common denominator. Well, we have the number 2. We have the number 4. What number do they both go into? They both go into 4. Now, with our previous problems on this review, we were multiplying the two fractions together to get a common denominator. In this example, 4 can go into 4. 2 can go into 4. We could have 8 be the denominator, but let's just keep it more simple. So 2.5 to change that into 4. 3 over 4, so change that into 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. So this problem would be 2 and 2/4 minus times 1 is 3/4. Now my problem's set up to subtract. When I'm subtracting a mixed number from a fraction, this is what I have to do. I have to look, do I have a common denominator? Yes, I do. Is my number on the left, right here, larger than my numerator on the right? It is not. So we have to borrow. Remember this, kids? Slash the 2, we make this a 1. Each one of these 2's is worth 4 over 4, 4 over 4. So I'd have to add 4 to this 2, which would make it 6 over 4, minus 3 over 4. Now I can subtract across. 1 minus 0 is 1. 6 minus 3 is 3. 4 straight across as my denominator. 1 and 3/4 is my answer. Add, write the sum in simplest form. We have 5/12 and we have 1/20. Right away, I'm going to go ahead and find my common denominator. What can 12 and 20 both go into? Now I could multiply these two numbers together and I could get a number. Let's see what number I get when I multiply them together. 0, 0, place value, cross this off. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. Add them up. I get 240. Is that the smallest common denominator I could find? Well, let's see. Can 12 go into a number that 20 can? 12 can. 12 times 5, kids, we all know is pretty basic math, is 60. We know 20 can go into 60 3 times because 3 times 20 is 60. So let's use 60 as our common denominator. We could use 240. That's not wrong. We would just have to reduce more at the end. Let's use 60. 5/12 into 60. 1/20 into 60. 12 times 5 is 60. 5 times 5 is 25. 20 times 3 is 60. 1 times 3 is 3. I'm going to rewrite my fraction. A lot of you skip this step, and that's why we get it incorrect. Make sure we're adding 3 over 60. Go ahead and add across. 25 plus 3 is 28 over 60. Now let's look. We have to reduce these. We can divide them both by 2. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. Equals 14 over 30. They're both even, so we can divide by more. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. You get 7 over 15. That is your answer. Subtract. What is the difference? They're stacked right here, kids. Go ahead and unstack them. We have 6 minus 1, 6. What does that equal? Remember I told you, excuse me, a lot of you guys can do this mentally. A lot of you will come up with 5 and 5/6 as your answer. There's nothing wrong with that. That is correct. But I'm also going to show you this. Remember this strategy we worked with. We cross off the 6 and make a big 5. And put 6 over 6, because 6 over 6 equals 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. So we have it written like this. We subtract. Look how much more simple this looks. Now we can go 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. 6 is my denominator. Keep that in mind when you see. You're going to see that on the test. You're going to see some whole numbers subtracting by a fraction. Just reduce that whole number down so it looks like a mixed number that looks just like this one. But here's your answer. Here's another one. I believe this is 4 over 11. We have 5/9 and 4 over 11. What can 9 and 11 both go into? They both go into 99. 9 times 11 is 99. 5 times 11 is 55. 11 times 9 is 99. 4 times 9 is 36. Now I've got 55 over 99 minus 36 over 99. Well, what's 55 minus 36? Gotta borrow. Excuse me. 15 becomes a 4. 15 minus 6 is 9. 4 minus 3 is 1. 19 over 99 is your answer. Add and write the sum in simplest form. Half, we have half plus 6 and 5/7. Find a common denominator, 2 and 7. So I have to take the fractions. I've got half into 14, 5/7. Better put a 6 here so I don't mess up. This is 14. 2 times 7 is 14. 1 times 7 is 7. So this new fraction is 7 over 14 plus times 2 is 10 plus 6 and 10 over 14. What does that equal? Well, 6 is my big number. 7 plus 10 is 17 over 14. Now I've got an improper fraction and a mixed number. I can't leave it like that. So obviously, how many 14s go into 17? 1 does. So I have to put that 1 into 6. So that would get 6 turn into 7. You guys all see what I just did? I took 14 over 14 away from 17 over 14, which leaves me with 3 over 14. Excuse me. Subtract and write the difference in simplest form. One thing that's nice about this, they already have common denominators. The next thing I look at is the numerator on the left, larger than the numerator on the right. It is not. So I have to take this 13, make it a 12. Take a look at my denominator. What is my denominator? It is 11. So I'm going to have to add 11 to this 3. So I would have 14 over 11 minus 8 and 8 over 11. Excuse me. Hopefully that helped you. Now you can just simply subtract across. 12 minus 8 is 4. 14 minus 8 is 6. And we have 11. Here's your answer. Write the sum in simplest form. We have 9 and 4/5. We have 1 and 1/3. I have a 5 here and I have a 3. What's my common denominator? Easy, 15. 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 3 is 12. So my new fraction is 9, 12 over 15 plus times 5 times 5, 5 over 15 plus 1 and 5 over 15. 9 plus 1 is 10. 12 plus 5 is 17 over 15. Now, if you leave the answer like this for the test, it's not going to be correct. You can't leave an improper fraction and a mixed number alone. You have to change it to a mixed number. So I'm going to take 10, 17 over 15. How many 15s can go into 17? 1 can. That 1 I have to add to 10 to make it 11. After I take 15 away from this 17, I have 2 left over, 15. Fill in the missing number. Just like we just got done doing with the last problem, they took 6, they crossed it off, and they made it 5. Well, where did they put that 4 over 4? They added it to this 2, so basically it's plus 4. So a 6 goes here. See what they did here. They took away the 3, and they changed this to a 2 because they added an 8 to this 13. They crossed out the 5, and they made it a 4. So that means, excuse me, they added a 9 to the 2, which this is 11. They added a 6 to this to get 10. In order to add this 6, they had to cross this 6 off and turn it into a 5. Fill in the oval next to the possible common denominators for the fraction pair. So what they're trying to see is 3 and 9. What numbers of these can they go into? Can 3 and 9 both go into 3? They can't. 9 can't fit into 3. So you might as well just cross this off. Can 9 go into 9? Yes. Can 3 go into 9? Yes. You'll fill in this oval. Can 3 go into 18? It can. 3 times 6 is 18. Can 9 go into 18? Yes. 9 times 2 is 18. 3 times 12 is 36. 9 times 4 is 36, so that works. Does everyone see why 3 doesn't work? Because 9 can't fit into 3. A lot of kids would circle 3 or fill in 3's oval. That's not correct. Please make sure you are taking your time and you're doing this correctly. List the fractions in order from largest to smallest. Right away when I'm looking at this, I'm trying to see which one could possibly be the largest. 5/11 looks like it's just about half. 2/9 I know is less than half. 1/8 is very low. Let's take a look at 1/3. So let's compare 1/3 and 5/11. Let's see which one's bigger. Find a common denominator. Is 33 times 11 times 11 is 11 times 3 times 3 is 15. So right now we know 5/11 is my largest. 5/11, not sure why I put a comma there. I'll put it up higher. 5/11 is my big dog. Now I'm left with 1/3, 2/9, and 1/8. Let's take a look at 1/3. Let's take a look at 2/9. 3 and 9, what are they both going to? They both go into 9. Times 3 times 3 equals 3. Times 1 equals 2. So right here, 3 is larger than 2. So we know 1/3 is my next biggest. Then I'm left with 2/9 and 1/8. Let's see which one's larger between these two. 9 times 8, 72. 9 times 8, 72. 2 times 8, 16. 8 times 9, 72. 1 times 9 is 9. So then it looks like 2/9 comes in third. 1/8 comes in last. That's my smallest. If you draw a line segment 3 times as long as the original 2 2/3 line segment, how long would the new line segment be? Now we're going into multiplication. 2 2/3 times 3 equals what? Remember, we have to write this as an improper fraction. 3 times 2, 6 plus 2, 8 over 3. Times 3, remember, if I write 3, remember like a 3-year-old, what would their age be as a fraction? It'd be 3 over 1. The best part about multiplication, kids, there's no common denominators. And the next best thing is we get to cross reduce. Can we cross reduce anything with 8 and 1? We can't. How about 3 and 3? We can. We can divide 3 by 3. So 3 divided by 3, we get 1. 3 divided by 3, we get 1. Go ahead and multiply the fraction out. 8 times 1 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1. My answer is 8. Do I have an answer of 8 up here? Boom. There's my answer. Let's keep going. Delilah had 6 3/8 pounds of popcorn and used 4 3/4 pounds of it. How much popcorn did Delilah have left? We're subtracting. Now when we're subtracting, excuse me, they want you to find a common denominator. They're going to be mixing you up. They're going to be throwing division at you, addition, subtraction, multiplication. Remember, just remember this. When you add and subtract, you have to find common denominators. When you multiply, you don't have to find common denominators, but you have to look to cross reduce. Then you just multiply across. When you divide, you have to find the reciprocal and then multiply across, or cross reduce, then multiply across. Anyways, we're back here at subtraction. We have to find a common denominator. They both go into 8. So let's go ahead and change 3/4 into a fraction with 8 times 2 times 2, 6. So let's go ahead and just take this away and put 6/8 here. Now we gotta look. Common denominators, 8's our common denominator. 3 is smaller than 6. So that means we have to cross off this 6, make this a 5, add an 8 to that 3, so we have 11 over 8 minus 4 6/8. 5 minus 4 is 1. 11 minus 6 is 5/8. Marcus started out with a submarine sandwich that was 9 1/4 inches long. He ate 6.5 inches. Explain how to find the amount of sandwich left. Well, if they ate that much, to subtract that much because it's no longer there. We have to change half into a fraction with a 4 in it. Well, half into 4 times 2 equals 2. It's 2/4. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase this just because we don't have a whole lot of room. 2/4. Subtract across. Well, common denominators are right, but they're going to be throwing this at you. This numerator is smaller than that numerator, so we have to borrow from the 9. This becomes 8. To add a 4 to this 1, because since I cross that off, I have to add 4 over 4 to this fraction. 5 over 4 minus 6 and 2/4. Go ahead and subtract across now. 8 minus 6 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3/4. There are 24 people on your swim team. 1/4 of the team went to a swim meet in April. How many people went to the swim meet? Remember our strategy. Fraction times whole times part equals part. Well, 24 people on your swim team, that sounds like all the people on your swim team. The fraction is 1/4. We want to find out what fourth went to the swim meet. 1/4 times 24 over 1. Go ahead and cross reduce because we are multiplying. Divide by 4 equals 1. 24 divided by 4 equals 6. 1 times 6 equals 6. 1 times 1 equals 1. Your answer is 6 kids went to the swim meet in April. There are 12 students on a field trip. While on the field trip, 50% of the students wore jackets. How many of them wore jackets? Okay, remember this can be a fraction or a decimal. Whole, part. There are 12 students on the field trip, so that sounds like all the kids that are on the field trip. While on the field trip, 50% of the students wore jackets. 50%, if I got to change it to a decimal, would be 0.50. How many of them wore jackets? Well, what's 0.50 times 12? 0 times 0. Place value. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. My answer is 600. Nope. 2 decimals. 2 decimals. Boom. Right there. My answer would be 6.0, which also means 6. So, how many students wore jackets? 6 students. I'm telling you guys, this works every single time. Now we get to multiply fractions, nice and easy, no word problems. The best part about this is cross-reducing. I'm going to make this larger so I can cross-reduce for you. 2 and 10, what number goes into both? 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Can 3 and 7 get cross-reduced? No, there's no number that goes into both, so I just have to let them be. 1 times 7 is 7. 3 times 5 is 15. I have a mixed number times a mixed number. So what do I have to do, kids? I have to write them as improper fractions. 7 times 3 equals 21 plus 3 is 24 over 7. Times 4 times 5 is 20 plus 1 is 21 over 4. Multiply. Cross reduce. 4 and 24. I'm going to cross off this 24 because I'm going to divide 24 by 4. I'm going to get 6. 4 divided by 4, I'm going to get 1. Next thing, I'm going to cross reduce. 7 and 21. Divide 7 by 7, get 1. 21 divided by 7, I get 3. Go ahead and multiply across. 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times 1 is 1. 18 is your answer. Same thing. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 1, 13 over 6. Times 8 times 5 times 8 is 40 plus 2, 42 over 5. 13 and 5. Can I do any cross reducing? I can't. How about 42 and 6? I know 6 goes into 42 7 times. I know 6 goes into 6 once. Now I have to multiply. 13 times 7. 7 times 1, 7. Plus 2, 9. Got 91 over 1 plus 5, 5. 75 is going to 91. Well, I know 20 times 5 is 100. So 19 times 5 is 95. 18, let's see what 18 times 5 is 90. 18, what's left over? 91 minus 90, 1 over 5. Here's your last problem. I'm going to save this as a separate video, kids, so please take a look at the website. This will be a separate video. Hopefully this review helped you, and good luck on the Unit 8 test.